Today we're going to dive into the Campbell's Soup story on this episode of Antique Bottle Stories. I was intrigued watching a video of Kevin digging for bottles on Traveling Bottle Digger channel. He found a Joseph Campbell's ketchup bottle, and I never knew that Campbell's had ketchups. And how did they go from ketchups to soups? And was it even a ketchup bottle? So I had to go get one of my own. So the story starts with Joseph Albert Campbell. He was born in 1817 in New Jersey, and he had 5 brothers and 2 sisters. And his family were fruit farmers. The whole family moved to Philadelphia at some point. As Joseph grew old enough to work, he continued to work in produce. I can't really find records on Ancestry before 1860, but this shows his family, Sarah, his wife, and he has 4 girls. His occupation is a fruiter. All the written stories say that Joseph Campbell and Abraham Anderson partnered up in 1869 in Camden, New Jersey. But I show a record here in 1870 that he's still in fruit wholesale in Philly. The city directories skip a few years, so their first record that I find for them is in 1874. It says manufacturers of canned goods and minced meat, and that their place of business was 39, 41, and 43 North 2nd Street. When I pulled it up on Google Maps, it shows this huge building. This building takes up a full block by itself. And I thought that seems a little huge for the company just starting out. They did do some expanding, so maybe, I don't know. Their preserves won a medal in the 1876 Centennial Exposition. Now after the exposition, apparently Campbell pushed to expand, and Anderson took a more conservative approach. Soon, Anderson sold his portion of the company and he moved on to other things. Like this 1878 directory shows him as a plumber now. The name of the company changed from Anderson and Campbell to just Joseph Campbell. Notice on this 1878 directory, it says Joseph Campbell, successor to Anderson and Campbell, specialties, extra fine peas, and the celebrated beefsteak tomatoes, also preserved fruits, fruit butter, ketchup, etc. 1881 is the last year that we see the name Joseph Campbell. In 1882, this trippy scan shows that it's now called Joseph Campbell and Company, and his new partner shows up, Arthur Dorrance. In 1883, Joseph Campbell would be 66 now. This directory shows all who's involved at this point. We have Arthur Dorrance, Walter Spackman, and a Joseph S. Campbell. Now, Joseph S. Campbell is Joseph's nephew. He's 31 in this directory, and Joseph S. actually remains the company's bookkeeper until he dies in 1905. And at this point, they're still in the same building established with Abraham Anderson. In 1890, I see the address changed to Front Street, and this is what it looked like around this time. Sources say that in 1896, Joseph Campbell and Company was changed to Joseph Campbell Preserve Company, but it was actually in 1892. In 1894, Joseph Campbell is the president, but the next year, in 1895, Arthur Dorrance bought the company and he's now the president. Joseph Campbell is 78 years old at this point, so I imagine he just went on to retire. Arthur Dorrance's nephew, John, started working at the factory after he graduated college in 1897. Within his first year, John developed the idea of condensed soups. He thought if he cut the water content by half, it would be cheaper to ship, and it was able to cut the cost of a can of soup from 30 cents to 10 cents. By the turn of the century, Campbell's Soup was selling 16 million cans a year. The beefsteak tomato soup and ketchup were the best sellers. Now let's talk about the label for a sec. This doesn't look like the Campbell's label that we know. Notice that there's 2 men carrying a tomato in the center. As far as the famous Campbell's can design, the story goes that in 1898, an executive named Herberton Williams really liked the colors of the Cornell University football team's uniforms. So he thought those colors would really catch the eye. And obviously that's a scheme that's still used today. And I have to say that I've never noticed that the bronze medal in the middle of the can says Paris International Exposition 1900. So Joseph Campbell lived to see these new soup cans hit the shelves for 2 years before he died in 1900 at age 82. Here's a few photos from the 1890s. Here's a line of delivery carts. Here's the preserves production line. And here's hundreds of farmers coming in with their tomato harvest. So John Dorrance became president of the company in 1914. When John became president, the factory stopped producing all products except soups. Now, history has mixed feelings about John Dorrance. He was a ruthless businessman. He was very efficient with costs and streamlining operations, and he made money hand over fist. But he was very controlling. He dictated to the New Jersey tomato farmers on what seeds to use and when to fertilize their crops. Apparently, during the Depression, when people were desperate for work, John took advantage of the situation by working his employees for longer hours and reduced wages. And if you didn't like it, there was a line of people outside waiting to take your place. He also started hiring more women since he could pay them less than men, and eventually he had an entire department run by women simply because it was cheaper that way. Workers likened it to chain gangs, with slave drivers as foremen. After several years, the conditions didn't change, and the workers went on strike in 1934 for better wages and better working conditions. It took a few years, but they did win. Now, John Dorrance died in the middle of this in 1930, and John's brother Arthur then became president. I do see that John Dorrance's son, John Jr., also is in charge at some point after this. So skipping ahead to 1979, Campbell's stopped using the New Jersey tomatoes. Instead, they started using tomato paste produced in California. So this freed up the company to move somewhere else. The Camden plant operated for 100 years until it closed in 1990, and then it was demolished the following year. Operations were then moved to North Carolina. A new headquarters was built in Camden, though. The company is now over 150 years old. Fun fact, a lady named Dorcas Riley was a Campbell's Test Kitchen inventor, and she was the creator of the famous green bean casserole using the cream of mushroom soup. Now my bottle is a beefsteak tomato ketchup bottle. It's not the same exact design as this bottle though. The beefsteak tomato brand started in the 1870s, but we know that the ketchup production ended in 1914. And since this says Joseph Campbell Preserve Company, we can narrow the years down to 1892 to 1904. It is a blown and mold, tooled top, crown top. So since the name of the company changed so many times and I found records for all of them, I decided I'll make a list, and maybe that might help somebody date some of their Campbell's memorabilia. So I'm going to leave you with a couple old commercials that I found, because you guys know how I love the old cheesy commercials. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Lassie, go fetch the men of the house for supper. You know, on a farm like ours, everybody works hard, especially our men. And at the end of the day, they're ready for good, hot, hearty food. And that's why I always start supper with soup. A really satisfying soup like Campbell's vegetable beef. From the very first sip of that good soup, I see good things begin to happen. Everybody brightens up and relaxes. Soup tastes so good. Why, it warms the way for the rest of the meal. Campbell's vegetable beef soup with all those country vegetables and its fine beef gives us such good nutrition too. And soup's soothing broths even seem to give digestion a little head start. Yes, soup just makes you feel good all over because
good things begin to happen when once a day, every day, you have Campbell's soup.
Say, have you had your soup today?
Let's put together some great go-togethers. One hungry boy, one boy-sized sandwich, a piece of fruit, and then watch one lunch come to life with good, hot Campbell's soup. Campbell's nourishing tomato soup is a great go-together with a ham and cheese sandwich. Another great go-together, Campbell's vegetable soup with a sliced chicken sandwich. Or you might prefer Campbell's chicken noodle soup with a hot dog. All great go-togethers. Any kind of sandwich. So many kinds of soup.
Soup and sandwich, soup and sandwich. Have your favorite Campbell soup and sandwich. Anytime or weather. Soup and sandwich go together.
Have you had your Campbell soup today?
Good. Johnny came calling one Sunday. The girl of his dreams was so sweet. She served him some wonderful dishes, but he found the meal incomplete.
No soup?
Good day, Irene, good day. Goodbye, he sighed. To get the punch of soup for lunch,
I'll seek another bride.
oh, what a wailing and sighing.
Oh, what shall I do, Mother dear? Just reach for some soup from the soup shelf. You'll soon have your Johnny back here.
Did someone say soup?
Soup and a salad delicious. Soup and a sandwich is great. Soup for lunch is nutritious.
Yes, you are my favorite date.
Now they're a family, one happy bunch. And every day you'll hear them say, let's have soup for lunch. Good.